Yes. We did the contract here.
Okay, it's 3:30, and at this time, I'd like to call to order the meeting of the Physical Services Committee for Monday, August 26, 2024. A copy of the agenda for this meeting may be found on the county website under the tab for the legislature. Please silence your phones and electronic devices, and at this time, I would ask everyone to stand for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. At this time, would you please call the roll here?
Benton, Dewey,
Here.
Duke,
Here.
Montel, Scavenge,
Here.
Menuda,
Present.
Feller,
Here.
Cheney.
Here.
Wow.
Okay. Lee had notified us that he will be joining us. He's a little late, I guess, traffic issues. So at this time, our first item on the agenda is Tim Flanagan representing Steve Newhouse, County Executive. And what we have before us is a request confirmation of appointment to the Orange County Water Authority Board of Directors, M. Trainer Senior, legislative request number 191. Could I get a motion in a second?
Second.
So Menuda, legislator Tui, thank you. Go ahead, Tim.
His resume is attached. He comes highly recommended. Other than that, I really don't have much more for you.
My understanding, this is to fill a vacant position
Correct.
that has been vacant for a while. Good. Any questions or comments? All right, seeing none, I'll call the question. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Carried unanimously.
Thank you.
Thanks. Next up, Travis Ewald, Commissioner, Department of Public Works, Department of Parks, Recreation, and Conservation. You're not going to lose that Public Works badge anytime soon. Deanna Crawford, Deputy Commissioner. Request to accept and appropriate the Urban and Community Forestry Grant Program Award from the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation, NYSDEC, in the amount of $63,154, and authorize the county executive to execute any and all other papers and agreements in connection with the federal grant funds awarded. A local match is not required. The grant will be used to remove dangerous, diseased, and dead ash trees in a section of Winding Hills Park in the town of Montgomery. Upon approval, a new capital project will be created. Legislative request number 185. Could I get a motion in a second? Duke and Menuda, go ahead.
Thank you. This is a request to accept a grant from New York State DEC that would allow for the removal of dying and dead ash trees in a portion of Winding Hills Park, specifically along the entrance road corridor and the scout camping area. The grant was only available in certain municipalities, so it's not something that we could utilize for the entire park, but the portion that was in the town of Montgomery, we were able to apply for, which we did with the help of the planning department, and we were awarded this. So this request is to accept the award and also set up the capital project for it.
Any questions or comments?
Much needed.
Yes, go ahead.
Bid this out to the locals, who's gonna do it?
They will be bid out. Yep, we have to bid it out. We have we had some quotes for it just so that we knew we were having the right numbers for our application, but we'll have to bid it out.
I do have one question.
Yes.
Legislator Menuda. Just a quick question. So, ash beetles, right? So is this just remove the trees or are they gonna help with like deterring and pesticides? Or-
It's just the removal of the trees. It's actually taking the trees down, grinding up, chipping up the limbs. The actual trunks of the trees will be either split with that and reused as firewood that's sold to the campers, or it'll, in some areas will just lay on the ground and become habitat for the local wildlife.
Thanks, Travis.
Any other? Just one question on the motion that we have before us. It says federal grant. This is not a federal grant.
It doesn't say.
It is.
Well, no, if you look, it is a federal grant?
It's not a deal.
It's through New York DEC, but the funds are federal. funds.
Okay. Good, thanks for clarifying that. All right, any other questions or comments? All right, seeing none, I'll call the question. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Carried. Thank you very much. All right. Next, Department of Public Works and Environmental Facilities and Services. We have a request to authorize the filing of an application for state assistance from the Municipal Waste Reduction and Recycling Program for recycling coordination, education, planning, and promotion projects, and the signing of the Associated State Master Grant Contract under the appropriate laws of New York State. The requested amount is $75,951.54, and the local match will be equal to the grant amount. The term of the grant is 1/1/2024 to 12/31/2024. It's legislative request number 187. Can I get a motion? Legislator Tui in a second.
Second.
Legislator Feldman. All right, go ahead.
Well, I just wanted to apologize, Bob Gray, wanted to come today, but he wasn't able to. But he did send Herman and Gary from his office to help us out with the their legislative request and also the solid waste update. Herman, did you want to give a little synopsis of the legislative request?
So it's basically for a grant or reimbursement for 50% of recycling coordinator's salary and fringe benefits, as well as additional outreach expenses that we do, whether it's public relations campaign, public outreach with, using, promoting, all of our outreach efforts that we do in the community, to subscription to Recycle Coach, web and mobile app. So all that bundled together, we bundled all that together in the application, submitted for 50% reimbursement.
We've done this in the past several years at least.
Pretty much, yeah, every year since I've been here.
I'm sorry, I'd like the record to note that Legislator Benton has joined us.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Questions or comments? Legislator Feller.
So this is for 1 year coordinator. You've been doing this for many years, so this person who has this job, is it contingent upon getting a grant every year, or will get a county picks up the difference next year?
So
This is Herman. He is the recycling coordinator. I believe his full salary is scheduled in the budget. This just supplements that salary. We keep applying for it. We keep receiving it. Does that sound right?
that's correct.
Well, that's good, so you can get money back to the county. If you get it.
He's presenting for his own salary.
Great.
Any others? Chairwoman Benelli?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Historically, the state was pretty negligent about timeliness of the reimbursement for salary. Are we up to date or at this point? I think we talked about it maybe a few months ago or something.
Yes, in years past, they were, pretty, negligent or delayed in getting the reimbursements back. But I think we're through to, I think, 2022, if I'm not mistaken.
All right, thank you.
So they're pretty much on pace. Takes a while for these things to come back to us, but
Well, it's it's a lot better than it was. I think it was something that happened, what was it, 8
4,
years?
5, 6 years,
Yeah,
something like that.
Yeah,
Lee,
it's-
right?
it's better.
That's usually Lee's question.
Sorry, Lee.
That's okay. That's okay. I'm glad it's as up to as well as it is. So,
Thank you.
Well, other questions, comments? I have a few. So are we maxed at the 75K? Because I would, in looking at your work plan and some of the activities, it would seem that you're getting support from other aspects of county government to do what is in the work plan. So is there an opportunity to bump that up and get more money back?
as always, and Gary can attest to this because I CC him in a lot of these emails, everything I can ask for, I'll always request. But usually when it comes, especially to salary and fringe benefits, it has to be a recycling coordinator. So they really narrowly focus as far as when it comes to staff,
So like in
my
the
salary.
I noticed one of the items in the work plan had to do with, going out to bids and like household hazardous waste. There are other people that are involved on Household Hazardous Waste Day. And I was just wondering whether there might not be opportunity to nick them for a little bit more money.
Yep, I always dig and try to ask. It's not only for my salary, recycling coordinator salary and fringe benefits, but also any other outreach expenses, advertisements. If we do an ad campaign or something on Facebook, it'll definitely cover that. But when it comes to kind of other costs, it's really difficult to justify with how stringent they are with their eligible and ineligible expenses. Grant.
And then just one, I guess, specific update, that was mentioned in your work plan, on your work plan worksheet. The draft final, says final draft of the local solid waste management plan. Could you give us a status update on that?
So currently working on finalizing some of the details in the chapters. We have internally many of the drafts completed, but really at a rough level. A lot of it has to kind of be sifted through and cleaned up before we can create a final draft, but it's currently on the docket of the many things that we're working on. But yes, I always include it in there because that's always a part of my task.
So are we doing this all internally? Do we have a consultant?
This is being done internally.
Okay. And then two of the performance measures were approval from the law department and then approval by DEC. What's the process? Is this something the legislature would be looking at and reviewing as well? I don't know, Mr. Mahoney, maybe, or our council? Whether this is something that would come before this legislative committee and then the full legislature for approval before adoption.
I looked at the regulations a number of months ago.
Okay.
And to be completely honest with you, I just don't
You
recall.
can get back to us,
I'll have to
that'll
get
be
back.
fine, yeah. Yep. If you don't mind, please, thank you. All right, any other questions or comments? All right. Seeing none, I'll call the question. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? Carried. All right, let's go next to an update on road and bridge projects in terms of what we've accomplished, what's underway, and what's looking to be done by the end of the year, please.
Okay. All right, so in regards to the highways and Work County roads, you guys know the county owns 302 miles of road, which equates to 604 lane miles that we maintain on the county road system. We've been continuing our pavement management program. We have engineers that work on this every year to develop a plan that maintains our county roads in a very good state of repair. You know, they go out and ride every road, they evaluate the condition, they tabulate it, and they focus our energy and efforts onto the roads that need it the most. So we're not just repaving a road every 10 years because that's our program. We analyze them and we direct our dollars and workforce to the areas that need it the most. That's evaluated based on what's called a pavement condition index. Right now, the county is at an 89 out of 100, which is very good. That's where we want to stay. Some of the towns are in the 60s. The state's probably even lower than that. You guys can tell.
Yeah.
Just from driving to this office.
Yeah.
The past few years, we've been resurfacing between 20 to 25 miles. Last year, we did 25 miles of county roadway.
Is that lane miles or?
It's miles,
Centerline
both
miles.
sides, centerline miles, yep. That's through a combination of different surface treatments. Some of it's like a surface course. Other ones are full asphalt layers, depending on what the condition of the road is. And that's determined during the year as we're doing that pavement condition index. Last year, county roads that were in that program were County Road 69, 32. Actually, I'll just tell you the towns. There's quite a few roads, but it's town of New Windsor, Cornwall, Woodbury, Blooming Grove, Mount Hope, Walk Hill, Goshen, and Tuxedo all had road sections paved within the boundaries. This year, when we bid out highway paving, there was a minor rise of 1%, which equated to about 10 cents per ton in the bid price. So that's a very good sign, and it means that, you know, our program's working, people are familiar with it, they're bidding it competitively, and we're getting good bid prices. This year, we're still anticipating between 20 and 25 miles of paving in the towns of Montgomery, Blooming Grove, Walk Hill, Minnesink, and Warwick. As you know, we also do a non-highway paving contract every year, which is for smaller projects. It's like less than a half a mile of paving winds up in the non-highway paving contract. A couple projects that are on that this year were 18 Seward Avenue. We redid the parking lot, the Hickory Hill Entrance Road, and maintenance area. And it wasn't a plan to do the Heritage Trail from Chester to Monroe. I believe that Travis is working on scheduling that, but the rest of them have been completed. We just wanted to extend our appreciation for you guys for supporting the road paving program and our highway work. We really appreciate it. It shows, and the county constituents rarely call with complaints about county roads. So it's always positive to be able to point them into the right direction. That's usually the DOT or a local municipality. On the highway side, we also completed a project to realign the intersection of Mill Pond Road, which is in the town of Mount Hope, Guymar Turnpike. It was an old horse and buggy road where it split and you had a stop sign in the middle and you had like a Y intersection. We improved sight distance, safety, and you know, we're hopefully improving traffic movements in that area as well. The bridges and culverts, we own 147 bridges within the county that we own, maintain, and rehabilitate. Some projects, highlights for this year, we completed the Otisville Viaduct replacement, which started in 2023 and completed work sometime in May. It's a total transformation of downtown Otisville. We took a 7-span bridge and replaced it with a single span over the road, the village road, and cleaned up a lot of the you know, issues that bridge had, including red flags, load posting. We were detouring traffic underneath the bridge onto village streets, and it's very successful. That was funded with the Bridge New York program. So we got grant money for a good portion of that work. We also completed Board Bridge, which was located on Round Hill Road in the town of Blooming Grove. That was probably the next worst bridge in the county. You can see that the concrete was falling. It was old pipe rail. It was narrow. The road narrowed down to the bridge. So we replaced that with our in-house crews. It's much wider. It's much safer, and it will last us, you know, a good 75 years. We also replaced a large culvert on County Route 6 right near Quarry Road. It's in the town of Goshen. That was also completed with in-house crews. That was approximately $255,000 to replace that, which was all paid for with CHIPS funding. We also completed various bridge repairs on Powder Mill Bridge in the town of Newburgh. We did a deck rehabilitation. Neversink Bridge, we did some rehabilitation to the railings on that. That's in the town of Deer Park. Cornwall Bridge, which is off of the traffic circle on Hasbrook Avenue in the town of Cornwall. We did some repair work to remove a load posting that was on that bridge, so that can carry any highway load at this point. On Highland Falls, we did some repairs to that bridge. We improved the sidewalk conditions. We also did some mitigation to the storm damage that happened last July. So that was a nice project out there. This year, we started construction on Main Street Bridge number 2, which is in the town of Cornwall on Main Street at the traffic circle. It's a major project. It's one of our most heavily traveled roads. So we've staged the construction to allow two-way traffic for the duration of construction. And it's going along pretty well. Stage 1 traffic has been shifted to the north side of the bridge. South side's been demoed, and they're working on putting in the footings for that new three-sided box culvert. We did a project jointly with Ulster County on Red Mills Road in the town of Crawford. This bridge was constructed in the 90s. The pavement condition was not the best. Asphalt was popping off of it. The concrete deck was exposed. We removed all the asphalt, put a waterproof membrane, and repaved it. And we also rehabilitated a lot of the railings on the bridge. They had been subject to salt and corrosion over the last 20 to 30 years. And they were all starting to have perforations. And, it's all brand new, buttoned up. Sure.
A question on like the Cornwall Bridge, doing one half at a time. I mean, normally when I see a bridge, the abutments, let's say, are the ends kind of, I would guess you would call that. Normally for a bridge, obviously it's one solid abutment for each side of the stream.
Right.
If you're splitting the bridge into two sides of construction, are they attached in the middle when it's done or something like that?
They will be. There's reinforcement that runs continuously through there. There's just going to be a cold joint at the middle.
Okay.
So bars from the first half are
Mhm.
poured, into the footing.
Yep.
And they're left
Hanging.
extended out. And then when they demo the second half of the bridge, they're cleaned up and poured into the second half.
Okay.
We do cold joints on a lot of our bridge abutments if they're really tall, just to eliminate mess, concrete pours. So it's very standard, a water stop in there, keeps water from infiltrating. And then what we do is we stagger over that joint, our three-sided box sections come in varying widths. We don't put one of the joints for that on top of the footing joint, it would span over the joint just to spread the loads between the two sections.
Okay. And you call it a cold joint. Okay.
It's a cold, yeah, so the concrete cures,
Mhm.
it's a cold joint, and then you pour concrete right up to it, but the reinforcement's continuous.
Thank you.
Absolutely. We rehabilitated Golf Links Road Bridge, which is in the town of Walk Hill, right near the golf course. Got a lot of complaints about that, but we got in, we did the work really quickly and we got it open as quick as possible. So that was a successful project. We replaced the culvert on County Route 41. This is another large culvert. I think it's by Stony Brook Court. It's on Union Corners Road. That was done with in-house bridge crews. We also replaced the culvert on County Route 12, Lower Road, town of Wayweonda, right near Denton Bridge, if you guys remember that project. That was all done with our in-house crews as well. We're looking to start construction on Highland Mills Bridge replacement, which is on Park Avenue in the town of Woodbury. And it's a town road, but it's a county-owned bridge. It's on a sharp turn. It's also narrow. We're trying to widen the bridge, improve the safety there because we'll have trucks that come around the turn and they'll hit our bridge rail, which we have to keep repairing. So we're going to widen the bridge. I believe we're skewing it a little bit further to allow for traffic to navigate that intersection a little bit better. We're also currently under contract for the Graham Line Bridge replacement, which is on County Route 18, New Vernon Road in the town of Mount Hope. This bridge crosses the Metro North Railroad, and we've had numerous potholes develop in the concrete deck. We keep patching them, but the deck is in poor shape, and the beams underneath it are starting to deteriorate. So what we're doing is replacing the entire superstructure. We're going to take off the concrete deck, all the steel beams, rehabilitate the pier. There's 2 piers and both abutments, put new steel beams and pour a new concrete deck on that bridge. We've also recently got a red flag on that, which we've temporarily mitigated by shifting traffic over off of that section of the bridge. The rest of the bridge is in capable condition of carrying the traffic loads on that. That is under contract. We're just waiting for fabrication of the steel beams. So we have a contractor in place. They're going to start construction probably in February, March, sometime next year with demolition. And then we're also helping to facilitate the replacement of the 4 Heritage Trail wooden bridge decks in coordination with the Parks Department. Currently in design, we've got Pumpkin Swamp Bridge in the town of Goshen. That's with the consulting engineer. MJ Engineering is the consultant. We're also starting a contract for the replacement of Gardnerville Bridge, which is in the town of Minnesink and Rivianda. That's with JMT Engineering. We're advancing Farmingdale Bridge, which is on, forgive me, I don't know the local name of the road, but it's County Route 51 in the town of Winnie Grove. That's a Bridge New York project, funded 95%. We're also designing with our in-house engineering department, Main Street Bridge number 1, which is by the middle school in Cornwall. And Cornwall Bridge, which I referenced previously, which is on the traffic circle. As far as next year, we're anticipating an intersection upgrade at LaRue Road and Leone Lane. It's a traffic signal, some lane modifications, new striping, new paving, just to improve the capacity at that intersection and also the maneuverability of larger vehicles through there. East Main Street in Middletown, I guess it's town of Walk Hill. A huge highway traffic and signals improvement project. We're going to upgrade the drainage in the roadway and upgrade 8 intersections. So improve traffic signals, new controllers, new cameras to alleviate a lot of the traffic conditions in that area. And we're going to continue Main Street number 2. That should wrap up next summer, late summer next year. Crystal Run Bridge number 2, which is a project on the town of Walk Hill over tributary to the Walk Hill River. And I also just wanted to highlight that we received $8 million from the Bridge New York program again this year. That brings our total to $24 million over the past 6 years for 11 projects. So it's been a very successful program for the county. And, you know, it supplements our budget quite a bit on these projects.
Thank you. Any questions or comments? Yes.
The Union Corners project, is that complete?
It's complete.
Oh, the road's open?
Yeah, road's open. Haven't had any complaints, so.
Legislator Felber.
Yeah, you're gonna have to excuse me because I really like this subject. I don't know what the county does. When you say we, you're talking about your people, or you're talking about you also hire contractors?
So we have a blend. We have engineers on staff. We'll design some projects, but we also extend our abilities with consultants to design projects for us as well. So depending on the
You do all the
complexity.
paving. The county does the paving where you sub.
So the paving, the county will do the prep work on the paving roads. So what we do is we go out and trim the shoulders, we'll fill in the potholes, and then we hire a contractor that does paving 100% of the time, and they come in and do the top surface treatment.
So on that subject, two questions. Can the town highway department bid that out if it's in their town? Are they allowed to kind of bid on that?
Yeah, so the towns are very well aware of our highway paving contracts, and they'll piggyback off of them every year. You know, so they all know the process, and they'll contact the contractor directly. They'll work out an agreement to do whatever sections of the road that they want. And as far as I know, all the municipalities use
So
that.
that people are kind of like building a county, which is saving the town. Because I went through this, showing, we love them.
They're not billing the county. They have,
They're working with the county.
so the county
Same price.
puts out the bid for 20 to 25 miles of paving.
Right.
And the contractor's bidding on that volume, so we get a good bid price. But that's only for our scope of the work. The towns are able to piggyback off of that contract for their own scope of work, but the county never sees any of those negotiated agreements.
So when a contractor does the work, does the county take core borings and samples randomly, or who accepts that work? The county?
For the county roads, yes, but not
So
town roads.
they go out and do 20, 25 miles of road. Do you have a standard as far as core boring that you do take and you measure?
We have engineers that go out and watch the paving go in place, and if we have any concerns, usually we'll go out and test them. I think we have a separate testing contract to do that.
And you're on a 12-year cycle according to 25 miles for 300. Is that like the industry standard, pretty much 12 years for blacktop?
That's about the average life of a blacktop surface is 12 years, 10 to 12 years.
That's interesting. On your bridges, the same, kind of the same questions. You take 4 borings on the bridges, and you get directly from the state, because we dealt with some bridges, you got a county bridge, quote unquote, a county bridge, but you get yellow flag, and then you get red flag. And that's done by somebody from the state who goes around and checks the bridges, and then you have to act on that, and then reduce the load that the bridge can hold and all that stuff.
Correct. So the state, I don't have all the history here, but in the 1970s, there was a bridge collapse, I believe, in Schoharie County.
Mhm.
And the state mandated that the DOT inspect every bridge within the state at least every 2 years. Bridges that have flags on them for safety concerns are inspected every year. And I don't know the load posting, but there is a limit. If it's posted under 15 tons, the state will also inspect those every year. We get those, we're responsible for reacting to them, going out and fixing the bridge if need be. And that all they do is they give you the inspection report and the flag, and then the county has to react to that.
And then reduce the load, so like fire departments might not be able to go over that particular bridge, because in the town level, we dealt with that, with the red flag or yellow flag or bridge, and you can't go over that bridge.
Right.
And my last question, and I thank you for your patience.
Sure.
Do you guys do your own striping, or you bid that out? You pay?
We do. We have a striper, and we try to stripe every county road every year at least once.
Thank you, I appreciate you.
To schedule that becomes a big problem to get, the striping contractors out. So we want to make sure our roads have good stripes on them. So we have our own paint truck, and we do that on every road.
So you must have a good stand. Those are impressive.
Yeah, they're very good. And if you ever wanted to stop by, I could show you the facility and the paint truck or whatever else you wanted to see.
Appreciate, thank you.
Absolutely.
Other questions or comments? Okay, thank you very much, Ryan. Let's move on to an update on solid waste.
Okay, so I'm gonna give a brief introduction here, and then, you guys can ask questions as you need to. Gary and Ermin can help me out if they can. But if there's anything that would have been better explained by Bob, maybe we'll have an email circulated to everybody. So you got a handout here. It gives you a synopsis of the last 3 to 4 years of tonnage that we've processed, our tipping rates on both municipal solid waste and single stream recycling. You can take a look at that and let us know if you have any questions. But essentially, our bids for municipal solid waste are shown on here. I think we're at the end of a cycle, and we're looking to put that out to bid. Is that correct, or is it already out to bid?
It's not, it's been submitted to bid it, but it will, yes, it's for January 1st, 2025, both MSW and SSR.
Okay. And then we've also had an upgrade to our scale management software. Gary, if you want to give a little brief synopsis of what that is and how it benefits us.
Yeah, so this software is utilized at the 3 transfer stations as well as our admin offices. It helps tracking all material that we give codes to coming into the facility and leaving the facility and by who. We also use this for weekly, monthly, and yearly reporting to DEC, generating reports that they require. And then this particular software, it allows more increased flexibility for tracking of this material billing, exporting the data into different formats, graphs, spreadsheets, and then also increased flexibility for the billing department. Whereas before we had to do billing monthly out to the customers, and it had to be handled individually, each customer, and bill statements and emailed out individually or hand mailed out to each. This software will allow, we're going to be setting it up to go out next month, but as long as every customer has an email and the invoices are quickly reviewed and done, this will automatically create and disperse the emails up to all the customers and then let us know who got them and who didn't. So that'll increase the efficiency there. And then this also is, The response time with the vendor is very nice. If we have any questions or concerns or issues that may be resolved for the software, you call their customer support line and they'll get back, on average, they get back to you within 15 minutes to the person that gave the call. And that's especially helpful if we're working after hours or even on weekends because our facilities are open Saturdays. And then the software does allow for increased flexibility and features if the county chooses to pursue some of these down the road, but help grow with our operations and facilities.
Questions or comments, legislator Tui?
Yeah, on the single streaming recycling, the annual tonnage, you see that from 2022 to 2023, it dropped quite drastically. It goes from 19,990 tons down to 6,091 tons. Is there a specific reason for that? Has some of it been reclassified to another type of recycling or?
That was when switch vendors based on that bid. There was a new bid during that time frame, 22 to 23, and it was just the contractor, new vendor was awarded, and then at that time, it just so happened the other vendor switched where they were bringing the trucks.
But I can see the rates changing on different things, but was the old vendor over calculating the tonnage in some way?
No.
How did it drop over?
75.
Is someone else for it?
So, yeah, so basically, as Gary mentioned,
No, wait, but I think Erman's got the answer.
as Gary mentioned, so the vendor that had the contract from 21 to 22, when they lost the contract in 2023, they took their material with them. So they were a big depositor in our facilities. And so
Oh, so they
took it elsewhere.
they had other
they took their business.
clients and they took their tonnage somewhere else. Okay. Thank you.
Did they have their own facility for
Yeah.
recovery?
Further away,
Yes,
but it's
yeah.
kind of like, they just decided to do their business elsewhere since.
So that basically, I guess, explains it.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you.
Minority Leader Purdue?
Yeah, that was sort of my question too. He answered it.
Okay. Legislator Feller?
Well, pretty much the same question, but it goes to the solid waste. There's a 30% reduction from 2021, 40,000 tons to 2023 and 2024. Is that pretty much the same answer? It went from 121,000 to 80, and that's what it's going to be 2023, 2024, pretty consistent.
You're talking between 20, so
Well,
2021
to
to
2021, it was 121,000 tons.
Yes.
And 2 years later, it was 80,000 tons. And this year, it looks like 80,000 tons also.
Yeah, and you also see the tipping rate increase during that. So it was just,
Yeah, but not proportionally.
yeah, it's just how finding other places to bring stuff, migration, but we also jumped from 113 to 121 to 25, but we did that because during that time, we went out to RFP. And we had to work with the bids that we got, for the pricing on that.
Is this at all correlated to municipalities bringing your waste to, say, Taylor Recycling, something like that? Or is that totally?
It could be related to that. I mean, there's numerous factors in the waste business. One's the tipping rates. Everyone's competitive. They want the waste because they want to bring in that revenue. There was also the Newburgh transfer station closed. I don't remember what year that was. You guys may remember.
Yes.
Yeah, and I think it's still
2019.
open for residential, but the bulk waste doesn't go there. So people on that side of the county may have found more convenient locations to bring the waste than Goshen. There's probably stuff south and points north that they can.
But
bring
the citizens drop-off area is still open on that end of the county, but right, bulk receiving facility is not.
Thank you.
Legislator Menuda?
So might as well just round it out. Are we competitive with our numbers with other waste facilities?
We're traditionally among the higher rates in the Mid-Hudson Valley.
And we attribute that to what?
In regards to what?
We attribute that to what reasoning?
When we go out to bid and receive
we receive bids from, and get the lowest bidder, you know, we have to pretty much abide by that and charge according to that. We don't want to subsidize our rates, so we just always end up being, you know, among the higher counties in the area when it comes to pricing.
And do the other counties do the same thing we do,
They pretty much do for the most part.
but they're getting a better rate? Interesting.
Bob Gray could give you a really elegant explanation on this.
And there are also private sector haulers who receive waste that might otherwise come to the county that then dispose of it far away.
I do have to note that a lot of the counties in the 7-county Mid-Hudson County region, Mid-Hudson Valley region have flow control. So a lot of that is, you know, subsidized with the flow control program. So they're able to finance. Flow control is basically, okay. Flow control is basically where it's a law where every can of trash goes to a county managed facility by law. It can't migrate outside of the county or outside of the state.
Okay.
So they get all the tipping rates from that. So they're pretty much flush with cash. They can set their prices lower. And they have more leverage in contracts with the amount of trash that they generate. We are free market, and so with the amount of trash we generate, that generates a big response that would reflect how much trash we would generate. Basically, a kind of bulk deal, right? If you're not producing as much or generating as much or projecting you're going to generate as much, then you get that price.
Mhm.
But when you're getting every single trash, if I'm a hauler, and I know I'm getting every trash can in that county, you know, I'm gonna give a good sweetheart deal on that. So the tipping rate kind of reflects that.
Mhm. So, wait a second, come back to me, would you?
Oh, all right, sure, let's say 2 weeks.
How long does the current contract go for until the next bidding process?
The current contract is done at the end of this year, so that's why we are just currently going through the bid process for January of next year. So it will be going out to bid soon.
Shortly.
Legislator Benton, did you?
I was just gonna tell everybody, Rockland County and the Ulster County Resource Recovery Agency, those are the two that have flow control.
We have a tipping rate sheet that we keep live and running among each of our counties. I'm happy to share with you that information.
I have one more question.
Legislator Feller?
Do you sell anything, your trash, you send anything overseas? And get revenue from packaging of cardboard?
So our downstream vendors like that, for example, for single stream waste, they have their own proprietary customers and for their commodities. That's pretty much proprietary to them. But whatever sales or revenues they generate get passed off to the fee to what they charge us. So
I was missing.
yeah.
Minority Leader.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. In the past, we've talked about some garbage haulers that are combining their recycling materials, and we've talked about it many times. And is there somebody posted at our facilities that different trucks when they come in? Because I know I've sent videos that I've gotten from people in my district that, and we talked, and I've heard that now they have trucks that have both in them. So really, so do you check, and have you found any people abusing their rights here?
So I have to say our staff does a really good job at monitoring what's coming into our transfer stations. We get updates every now and then, saying, hey, we've got a dirty load. And so what they'll do is they'll charge them the MSW rate, which is a little bit higher than the SSR rate, and then also add on the $100 fine that we, passed here not too long ago. So it is working. It's in place. There's always going to be somebody who sends us a load. It just happens. As far as people, about haulers collecting and putting single stream into their trash, we haven't received any complaints that have been able to verify in recent months. So that's not to say it's not happening, but we definitely are keeping our ear to the ground to that and trying to address any of these complaints.
It seems like $100 fine really isn't going to deter too many people.
But the $100, there are two things in play here. One is the $100 fine is if you bring a contaminated single stream recycling load that's got too much garbage in it, non-recyclable materials. That's one aspect of it. And that your concern is a load that is mostly garbage that's coming in with a lot of single stream recycling in it, and people, and obviously with good reason, are complaining that I'm paying for this and I'm not getting it.
And we have, but I mean, $100 fine really doesn't deter many people, I would think. I mean, if they have a run that, I've seen this one truck multiple times. As a matter of fact, that was one of the videos that this is a while ago. That's why I was just asking on updates. I mean, I don't think if you find somebody like that, that's not a big deal to them, right? I mean.
But correct me if I'm wrong, there's no fine or penalty if someone brings in a load that's 75% garbage and 25% single stream recycle.
Is it?
And you check it.
There isn't, no, not that we have on the books.
They just pay the higher rate.
Yeah, they're paying a higher
paying a
rate
higher
for
rate.
that material.
Even though obviously, ideally, we would be able to recover that material, but that's where that education outreach comes in the front end. You know, we're doing our best. For example, City of Middletown is one that I get tons of calls from residents because they have reacted. It may seem like it's $100 fee, and maybe we can argue, and I can say personally, I think it'd be nice to bump it up a little bit. However, it does send a signal where the City of Middletown, they do their own hauling. And so what they've done is they've not picked, like whenever somebody has contaminated, you know, recycling carts, they don't pick it up because now it's acknowledged that contamination is not tolerated. So they don't pick up that load, or they don't pick up that one cart. And so I'll get a call from the resident saying, hey, I received your flyer, the single stream recycling flyer, and they told me to call you because my recycling had too many bags in it. So I'll have to explain them about why bags are not accepted. So I find that a lot. So there are definitely good aspects of that, and that I'm getting a lot of positive feedback from the community and from the municipalities based off of that. So I think it's an ongoing thing, but right now I think what's a good thing is that there is a feedback loop finally, and we are working on addressing it.
Who other than the City of Middletown?
Who in the City of Middletown?
No, who other than the City of Middletown?
Village of Goshen is another good one. What they've done is they've tagged bins, you know, they've gone around and they've kind of like in different neighborhoods inspected certain bins. There are a few others that come to mind, but I can't recall. But it's happening. It's kind of organically, you know, creating, like I said, this feedback loop where municipalities are taking it in their own terms to try to educate and try to disincentivize the commingling of trash with the recycling.
Montgomery does that too. They'll leave a can or they'll leave a big piece of styrofoam that got into the recycling if they don't think that it meets the guidelines.
Thank you.
Yes, Legislator Menuda.
Thank you. Just had to gather my thoughts here. So we're looking for 2021, 2024. My concern is we've got going from 13.8 million a year to 8.76 for your solid waste. And you went from 2.189 in 21 to 24. And this is only half year? Is that what we're looking at? Half year?
It's only the half year.
Got it. So the numbers are not where I thought they were.
So you gotta take everything, the final column, and multiply it by 2.
Okay, so we are up. My concern was that we were gonna be down, so thank you very much.
Okay, other questions or comments? I'll just add one, relative to the process of going out to bid. One of the things that's very important to our municipal constituents is that the towns at least, whoever's on the calendar year budget, it's very important for them to know what the tipping fee is going to be as early in the process as they can get it. So I'll encourage all the components or departments within the county that have to review and address this document that has to go out to bid to do it as efficiently and as quickly as possible, because it's important to the towns and the cities and the villages. And you know, the sooner they're able to get the numbers, the better they are at being able to create their budgets. Gary, do you know at this time what the target date is to go out to bid with that package?
No, it's been submitted to the bid process. It's gonna go through, DGS law and then hosting and all that, but it has been submitted to that process.
Okay, well, you have our support in moving that along and being a squeaky wheel as much as you are able. Okay, thank you. Okay. No other questions? Thank you very much. And at this time, the desk is clear, and I would seek a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Already leave it to Duke, and second by Mr. Benton. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.